Paradise Art Night was never an ordinary event. For years, it had been the pinnacle of modern art gatherings in Seoul, a glamorous intersection of creativity, fashion, and cultural expression. Celebrities, painters, musicians, actors, and the most influential figures from around the world had graced its red carpets, but this particular night was destined to stand apart from all others. What no one expected was that BTS's Kim Taehyung, known globally as V, would not only capture the essence of art but also shake the emotional core of everyone present. And even more astonishingly, Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, would experience a moment so vulnerable that it would set the fandom ablaze. The venue itself was breathtaking. Held in a glass-domed gallery overlooking the Han River, the atmosphere shimmered with elegance. Lights refracted from crystal chandeliers, casting a golden glow on walls decorated with avant-garde paintings and installations. Guests in tuxedos and gowns sipped champagne, exchanging smiles and conversations about art, philosophy, and the latest creative trends. Photographers swarmed the entrance, their camera flashes painting the night sky in a relentless rhythm. But behind the sophistication, there was a palpable anticipation. Whispers had been circulating for weeks that Taehyung, known for his love of fine arts and his deep involvement in creative expression, was planning something extraordinary for this night. Fans speculated about whether it would be a painting, a performance, or even a short film. The suspense added to the already charged atmosphere. As the doors opened, the red carpet rolled out like a path to destiny. One by one, celebrities arrived. Actors from award-winning dramas, K-pop idols from the biggest groups, and renowned international artists. Yet, despite the glamour, the crowds seemed to be waiting for one person. Every time a luxury car pulled up, heads turned, fans screamed, and cameras clicked in unison, hoping it would be Taehyung. Inside, organizers spoke in hushed tones about how this year's theme, emotion through art, was perfectly aligned with Taehyung's personality. He had long been admired for his ability to blur the boundaries between music, visuals, and feelings. To many, he wasn't just an idol but a cultural figure who embodied artistry itself. As the first hour unfolded, live music played softly, blending jazz with traditional Korean instruments. Waiters floated across the hall with silver trays, offering delicate hors d'oeuvres. A giant digital screen displayed abstract visuals of water, fire, and blossoms, symbolizing transformation and passion. But even amidst the curated beauty, there was a growing sense of impatience. Army members who had managed to get limited invitations clutched their phones tightly, ready to capture every detail. Then, at precisely 8:45 p.m., the energy shifted. The doors opened again, and murmurs spread like wildfire. A sleek black car had pulled up outside, and even from afar, the silhouette stepping out was unmistakable. The gallery, once filled with scattered chatter, fell into near silence, as though the night itself paused to welcome him. Kim Taehyung walked into Paradise Art Night like he owned not just the room, but the very essence of art itself. His outfit was a masterful blend of classic and modern, a velvet deep blue suit with subtle golden embroidery, reminiscent of Van Gogh's Starry Night. A delicate brooch in the shape of a crescent moon adorned his chest, and his hair was styled in soft waves that framed his face like a painting. The effect was mesmerizing. He wasn't simply dressed, he was curated. The crowd gasped audibly. Camera flashes erupted in waves, yet many attendees forgot to even raise their phones. Taehyung's presence was magnetic, the kind that demanded silence, reverence, and awe. It wasn't just his looks, but the aura he carried, calm, introspective, yet undeniably powerful. Is this real? He looks like he stepped out of a masterpiece, one guest whispered, and the sentiment echoed throughout the hall. But the night had only begun. None of the attendees knew that in just a short while, Taehyung would deliver a moment so unexpected that it would leave even the most seasoned celebrities in tears. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Jungkook, usually the picture of strength and joy, would find himself overwhelmed, breaking down in a way that would make the world stop and listen. The grand stage was set. The stars had aligned, and Paradise Art Night was about to become legendary. The moment Taehyung stepped inside the glass-domed gallery, time itself seemed to halt. Every eye turned toward him, and the air grew heavy with admiration. It was not just about a celebrity making an appearance. It was about an artist embodying the very theme of the night: emotion through art. The golden chandeliers cast a warm glow over him as he moved gracefully through the grand entrance hall. His velvet deep blue suit shimmered subtly under the lights, and the golden embroidery along the cuffs and lapel glistened like constellations. Some compared his aura to a living Van Gogh painting, while others whispered that he resembled a royal figure stepping out of history into the present. The media coverage intensified instantly. Reporters clutched their microphones and photographers leaned forward, desperate to capture his every angle. Social media platforms lit up in real time. Within seconds, hashtags like Taehyung at Paradise Art Night, Living Masterpiece, and VShock the World began trending globally. For Taehyung, however, this was not about spectacle. Behind the poised smile and flawless appearance, he had spent weeks preparing for this moment. Fashion was not just clothing for him. It was a language, a silent poem written in textures and colors. Every detail of his outfit had been carefully chosen to reflect not only his personality, but also his message for the night. Walking further inside, he paused briefly to greet some of the world's most renowned artists and curators. His polite bows and gentle handshake carried a sincerity that stood out in an environment where appearances often overshadowed authenticity. "Mr. Kim," one elderly painter remarked softly, "your presence feels like art itself." Taehyung smiled, his eyes glinting with humility. "Tonight, it's not about me," he replied, "but about what art can make us feel." That simple sentence revealed much about his mindset. For Taehyung, Paradise Art Night was not an opportunity for self-promotion, but a canvas on which he wished to share something meaningful, something that would connect hearts, just as BTS's music had always done. As he moved deeper into the gallery, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations hushed, cameras lowered, and even the most celebrated figures in the room found themselves watching silently. There was something magnetic in the way he carried himself, an aura that seemed both approachable and untouchable. His charisma was not loud or overbearing. Unlike others who sought attention through grand gestures, Taehyung's power lay in subtlety. His calmness spoke louder than noise, his elegance heavier than extravagance. He didn't need to demand the spotlight simply followed him. Soon, Taehyung reached the centerpiece of the gallery, where a massive installation stood covered by a silk cloth. Attendees speculated that this was part of his surprise contribution to the night. Whispers rose again. Was it a painting he had worked on? A collaboration with a contemporary artist? Or perhaps an interactive performance piece? The anticipation mounted, but before any reveal, Taehyung paused to address the audience. He stood before the covered installation, microphone in hand, his voice calm yet commanding. "Good evening, everyone," he began, his deep baritone resonating through the hall. "I am honored to be here tonight, surrounded by so much beauty, creativity, and emotion. Art is not only about what we see, it's about what we feel. And tonight, I hope we can feel something together." The sincerity of his words struck the audience. There was no rehearsed grandeur, no hollow formality. His speech felt intimate, as though he were speaking not to a crowd of hundreds, but directly to each individual heart in the room. And somewhere among that crowd stood Jungkook, his eyes fixed on Taehyung with admiration and quiet intensity. The connection between the two was unspoken but palpable. For years, fans had seen their bond through performances, behind-the-scenes clips, and heartfelt interviews. But this moment felt different. Jungkook, usually full of confidence and light, seemed unusually quiet, as though he knew something extraordinary was about to happen. As Taehyung finished his short introduction, he placed his hand gently on the silk cloth covering the installation. Gasps echoed softly across the gallery. Slowly, with deliberate grace, he pulled the cloth away. What lay beneath was not what anyone had expected. It wasn't a painting or a sculpture in the traditional sense. Instead, it was an enormous mixed-media piece, a fusion of painted canvas and bedded lights, reflective surfaces, and even fragments of broken glass that